Welcome back. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here. Diamond K in the morning on the all-new radioonfire.com. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. Of course, here on the program, we deliver the biggest political and trending news stories of the day with interviews and original reporting from across this country. Show is fun, show is upbeat, but also got to expose what's really happening in this country. A whole lot of things going on. Radio on Fire giving you the American story. And we're doing that from my perspective, of course. New episodes drop Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. But I don't want you to miss any of our live broadcasts in addition to our 8 a.m. program. We drop content throughout the day as news happens. Hit that notification bell so you get an alert wherever we go live, and we rebroadcast our content throughout the day. So much I want to get into today. I want to talk Afghanistan. I want to talk about the Delta wave hitting kids. Of course, we're going to talk about mask mandates as school is getting ready to reconvene, and in some instances has already reconvened. There was a kind of a bomb threat near the Capitol yesterday, the Library of Congress. We're going to talk about Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis. This is someone who's trying to move into that Trump wing of the Republican Party. And he's supposed to be an educated person, but he makes a lot of decisions and a lot of moves and a lot of statements that may contradict his education. Diamond Gate in the Morning is sponsored by Tasty Moscato. If you could pour sexy in a glass, this would be it. This smooth, seductive Moscato wine blended with vanilla takes your palate to a whole nother level of taste meat. Unlike most, Tasty Moscato can be deliciously paired with a variety of meats, cheeses, veggies, as well as desserts. It's the sweet taste of luxury that you've been craving. Visit Tasty Moscato on Facebook. Also, radioonfire.com/tasty. So, as I said, we're going to talk about a variety of things. Also, I want to discuss the COVID-19 booster shot drive that is taking place. So ironic that these same folks that were saying, oh, no, it's not going to be any booster shot. You don't need a booster shot right now, right? They have completely done a 180 on that, and now booster shots is what it is and what it's going to be. So ironic. But we're going to talk about that as well. So the U.S. officials' decision on this COVID-19 booster shot may baffle some people, may upset other people. Some scientists are confused about that or frustrated, right? So the Biden administration has decided to start the authorization of a third dose of the COVID-19 vaccine this fall, September to be exact. And the whole movement is I don't know, it's just these government top public health officials earlier this week pointed to some data showing that the mRNA vaccines developed by Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna are no longer protecting as well against mild and moderate COVID-19 infections as evidence that could signal a decline in protection against serious disease. So as we have talked about, serious disease is what they are focused on. They're not actually focused on not spreading it. They're not actually focused on eradicating it. Right now, it is so you don't get as sick, so you can live with it. That's what the focus is, and that's where things are. Now, could is not a very strong word, especially to make a policy decision on. But they say that it could. Now, the vaccine has still not been approved by the FDA, and we have been hearing rumblings that is coming. So I don't know where things stand with regards to that. And full FDA approval right now, we have emergency use authorization. Would a full FDA approval change your mind on taking the vaccine if you have not taken the vaccine? Or are you still like, no, you're not taking the vaccine? I'd like to know that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, or Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. So with regards to this decision to boost so early in the country's use of the vaccine, some people are saying that it's not science-based. Some people are saying that these vaccines created very quickly with regards to other vaccines. And I hear champions of the vaccine say that you've taken vaccines to go to school. Why aren't you excited about taking this vaccine? And that is because, in my eyes, it was produced too quickly. They're already on a third booster shot, and it hasn't even been a year, right? They're still learning stuff about this vaccine. So to many experts, the sequencing of the decisions being made is out of whack, right? So U.S. health officials said that booster shots could start being offered the week of September the 20th. The FDA has not even ruled yet on Pfizer's application for approval of a third shot, and it was filed only on Monday. Moderna has not yet asked the agency to authorize a third shot at all. So while some scientists may be questioning this, I think that the Biden administration is looking at some information that we don't have yet. They're basing this on information we don't have yet. Too many chiefs. There's a lot of chiefs out here saying what should be done, what could be done, what will be done, what ought to be done. But this is something new. Everybody doesn't know about this virus because it is new. It is new. So at present, the extra dose policy only applies to the Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna vaccines. People who receive the one-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine continue to wait for guidance about whether they need another dose. So still up in the air about that with regards to the Johnson & Johnson folks. And I don't know. It's all over the place. So it is a thing that is steadily moving, steadily changing, and we want to make sure that folks, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm putting information out there. You make your own decision. But at the same time, and I have talked about this, I feel strongly about masking indoors. Now, some people have, said on the comments section, masking doesn't make a difference and all that kind of stuff. But we're talking about something that is airborne and transferred through the nose, through the mouth. So covering that helps. Now, does it kill the virus? Does it stop everything? No, but it helps. It helps. It helps. And I really feel as though folks need to continue to mask up. Some people against masking. Some people are against the vaccine. Some people are against everything. Some people don't even wash their freaking hands. So, you can't listen to everybody. I just want folks to protect themselves. I just want folks to protect children. And I want people just to do some sensible things and things that make sense. You wash your hands, you put on a mask, keep your distance, stop being all up in people's face. This is whether you have the vaccine or not. What about the cold? What about the flu? What are heebie-jeebies? That's a real thing. The heebie-jeebies. It's a real thing. It's just, some people are just nasty. Some people are just nasty. So with the fall coming, school and session and all that kind of stuff, this bad news, the record Delta wave hits kids, and it is raising fears as U.S. schools reopen. We want to get into that in a minute. Diamond K in the Morning is available on the WRF Radio app. Simply download WRF Radio in your app store. Leave me a comment, message. You can, scroll your timeline, attend a Zoom meeting on mute, send an email, do some online shopping, all while listening to Diamond K in the Morning. You can also get the program on demand, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, anywhere that you can get those audio shows. Search Diamond K in the Morning. Also, youtube.com/DJ Diamond K. So as we're saying, this record Delta wave hits kids, and folks are nervous. Folks are nervous, and there is good reason to be nervous. So the highly contagious Delta variant is spreading across this country. Children are filling hospital intensive care beds instead of classrooms in record numbers. Remember, before we knew more about this virus, folks thought that it wasn't going to affect kids like that. They thought it was just affecting the elderly. Now, as this variant and other variants are rising, we're seeing a shift in this information, things that we thought we knew, or the so-called smart people. So these children are filling hospital intensive care beds in record numbers. This has got to concern people. This has got to show people that this is a serious thing. It's happening now at even a higher rate than at the so-called height of the pandemic. Many are too young to get the vaccine. Of course, we know currently, which is available to those 12 and older. But the surging virus is spreading anxiety to folks with kids. And it should. You know what I mean? It's causing turmoil and infighting among parents, administrators, politicians. There's a debate about a mask mandate around this country, especially in states like Florida, especially in states like Texas, where Republican governors have barred schools from making youngsters wear masks. In Texas, this idiotic governor rolling around, he has COVID. Announced it this week after being in a room full of unmasked folks, tweeting it out, proud of himself. Now he has COVID. Now he's celebrating the fact that he doesn't have bad symptoms because he has received the vaccine and he's getting some other treatments. But what about kids who are too young to get the vaccine? What about kids? It is amazing what some of these Republicans are doing, the posturing that they're doing. Millions of kids returning to classrooms later this month. The stakes could not be any higher. Unquestionably high right now, the stakes. You know, when kids go back to school, normal. This is before we had a pandemic. They would come back, give you a cold. You had kids passing germs back and forth. This is before the pandemic. What do you think is going to happen now? If everything is just normal the way it normally is, there's going to be some germs passed around, taken back to adults. I'm worried about this. Very high infection rates in the community are really causing our children's hospitals to feel the squeeze. No, I mean, I don't even have children. And I'm concerned because I have nieces, I have nephews, I have friends with kids, I have godchildren, and I'm concerned. So real parents should be concerned, and I'm sure that they are. But when you have folks like Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, pulling some of the stunts that he's pulling, we're going to talk about this clown in a minute. So let's talk about this. Dr. Francis Collins is the head of the National Institutes of Health. And he is calling the spike in cases among children very worrisome. He noted that over 400 U.S. children have died of COVID-19 since the pandemic began. Now, some folks are going to say, oh, well, there are millions of people in this country. 400, that's not that bad. Just let that sink in for a minute. Some people think that 400 kids dying is not that bad. Now, right now, we have almost 2,000 kids in the hospital, many of them in ICU. A lot of people are not talking about this. Some of them under the age of 4. Health experts believe adults who have not gotten their shots are contributing to the surge among grown-ups and kids alike. But let me say this. Folks that also have the vaccine are still contributing to the surge because they can still spread and get COVID-19. But it has been especially bad in places with lower vaccination rates, such as parts of the South. But many folks with vaccines are just being irresponsible with how they are moving out in these streets. Just because you have the vaccine, it does not mean that you are invincible. As you can see, they're rolling out a third vaccine. The potency of the vaccine is still being studied. We don't know everything about it and how it's moving, but we do know this. You can still pass it. You can still get it. You can still end up in ICU receiving the vaccine. So don't move out in these streets like you are immune. They used to be talking. You heard the last president talking about he was immune because he already had it. And then you have other folks that have had it twice. You're not immune yet. We're not out of the water yet with regards to COVID-19. Don McKay in the Morning is sponsored by Flyers on Fire. If you need a flyer created, Flyers on Fire can design your quality digital flyer in 24 hours. Are you promoting something on social media? Flyers on Fire can help you brand your message with a quality flyer. Visit us on Instagram at Flyers on Fire. Of course, get breaking news and adult conversations covering topics that are important. Visit radioonfire.com for our original radio podcast and TV programs. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of the program after this. Welcome back. Your man, Don McKay. If you want to support Don McKay in the Morning, very easy to do that. I'm able to deliver our news and our views because of our listeners, sponsors, and of course your donations. Don McKay in the Morning is powered by the people, and we need your support. Visit radioonfire.com to make a one-time donation or join the VIP club. So, welcome back to the program. On social media, I'm at The Don McKay Show, at Radio on Fire, and we have so much more to get into. We're talking about the record Delta wave hitting kids right now. So-called experts are working to answer questions. Many hospitals are reeling right now. Those in Texas are among the hardest hit. Earlier this week, they reported 196 children being treated with confirmed cases of COVID-19. That compares with the 163 during the previous peak in December. Remember, they were telling you it wasn't going to affect kids. Kids was good. That's what they said. However, at the Texas Children's Hospital in Houston, the nation's largest pediatric hospital, the number of youngsters being treated for COVID-19 is at an all-time high. It is spreading like wildfire across our communities. And of course, we get ready to send the kids back to school. And in some places, they saying, damn the mask. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. So at Children's Medical Center in Dallas, the number of patients with COVID-19 climbed from 10 during the week of July 4th to 29 during the week of August 8th. Now, that is a slow climb, but it is a climb nonetheless. The Delta surge is yet another test for our schools. So classrooms are dealing with students who fell behind academically. Now, whether they used this as an excuse, virtual learning or not. And I understand this. I understand that some people learn better in the classrooms, right? Some people eat better with the fork, but that doesn't mean that if food's on your plate, you're supposed to go hungry because you don't have no fork available. Let me say that again. Most people eat better with a fork, but that does not mean that you should go hungry with food on your plate if there's no fork available. Pick it up with your hands and eat the damn food. Stop making excuses because everything's not exactly the way you want it to be, or it's not exactly the most comfortable. Come on. So outbreaks have already occurred at schools that have reopened in the South. And as I keep talking about the resistance to mask wearing, in Texas, some school administrators are mandating masks in defiance of the governor and the state Supreme Court. So this Delta variant is different, and the numbers are really significant in this country. You hear folks talking about the Delta variant. So, the toll this pandemic has had on children. You know that. So with regards to Texas and Florida, folks complained about virtual learning. They want kids back in the classrooms, but they're doing things. The adults, the politicians are doing things that are going to push us back to remote learning. It is mind-boggling. It is mind-boggling. So many children suffered during the virtual learning. Parents weren't ready, kids weren't ready, administrators weren't ready. But I fear that we have no choice but to prepare that as an option. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Dami K Show, at Radio on Fire. So much more to get into, so much more that I want to discuss, and we will do that after this. Welcome back. Dami K in the Morning is brought to you in part by jstoverbeauty.com. I want to talk directly to my ladies out there. As you say goodbye to the summer and get ready for the fall, get all of your must-have beauty products from jstoverbeauty.com. They have quality wigs Indian hair extension, virgin hair extensions, professional hair care products, edge control, flat iron mist, mink eyelashes, satin wig bags, wax sticks, lace concealer, lace tint, so much more. JStoverBeauty.com also does custom wig making, maintenance, and revamp services. You can check them out on social media at JStoverBeauty on Instagram or JStoverBeauty LLC on Facebook. Be a girl with mind, a woman with attitude, and a lady with class. Visit JStoverBeauty.com. So on the other side, we were talking about COVID-19, something that has really hit the world, the Delta variant and all of that stuff. But we also talked about Florida's Ron DeSantis, who must face suit over the mask mandate ban in schools. So this governor has been defiant, to say the least. So a judge denied the request by Florida's governor to throw out this lawsuit challenging his ban on mask mandates in school. So this is setting up a clash next week that could see the court block his executive order. Whole country is going to be watching this one. So a judge, John C. Cooper of Florida's Second Judicial Circuit, ruled yesterday that parents who claim the ban put their children at risk as the Delta variant of the coronavirus is ravaging the state can sue to block the governor's action. So I am happy about that. But we're going to see what happens. This is setting up this showdown. So Cooper said that he is, will hold a hearing over the next 2 or 3 days. And this is going to go into next week with testimony from health experts and parents before ruling on the request for a preliminary injunction against the executive order. The governor is Ron DeSantis, a Republican, and many see him as a possible successor to the former President Trump. So DeSantis says that parents should have the final say on whether their kids wear masks at school. Parents are also fighting his executive order in relationship to the federal court case. Similar clashes are underway in Texas and in Oklahoma. So this is not over. This is something that we're going to be watching across the country. To me, it's an obvious thing. What these Republican governors are proposing to do with their executive orders put everyone at risk. Not just the kids in school, but their families at risk. And so once again, if they say that they don't want virtual learning, you say that you don't want that, but you're making and taking steps that are going to put us right back there. It is amazing. Where do they find these people? So Afghanistan, we've talked about that, and we're going to be talking about that for some time to come. They've been over there 20 years. So the Taliban, of course, has taken control of the country. On Sunday, Taliban forces moved into Kabul following the collapse of the Afghan government. So refugees are going to be going to this country and many others. Protests against Taliban rule were met with violence by fighters for the several days. Pentagon said yesterday that more than 5,200 total U.S. troops are on the ground and that roughly 7,000 people have been airlifted out of the country since evacuations began on the 14th. Now, it was poorly planned. You've seen the viral videos and the photos and that disaster. Republicans are jumping on board with that. And Democrats as well are giving President Biden a lot of heat about this. He has doubled down. He's remaining defiant in his standing behind his decisions. And we would have liked it to have gone a little bit smoother. But you were going to have a wild scenario no matter how you looked at it when the Americans left. UN has called on countries to halt forcible returns of Afghan refugees and said that it is temporarily relocating a third of its international staff in Kabul due to the volatile situation in the country. So it is definitely getting worse. Mainstream media, we constantly hear folks talking about the allies, the translators, and different folks that helped out the soldiers. So you definitely want them to get those folks out. But you definitely have people who, because the Taliban is in charge now, don't like that. And have gotten used to these Western ways. But Afghans have lived through foreign invasion, civil war, insurgency, and all of that. Previous period of oppressive Taliban rule. They've been through this. This has been years and years of crisis. The situation is bad in Afghanistan. Taliban has come, and I don't know what this means for that country, but we're definitely going to see some dust get kicked up. I really am frustrated with the amount of money that we have put into that country with regards to infrastructure, with regards to training, with regards to weapons. Diplomats warned of Afghanistan's collapse. It is, it is really a devastating disaster. A devastating disaster. 20 years after it invaded Afghanistan and later Iraq with the ambition to transform the entire region to its liking. One has to wonder who transformed who? Who transformed who? Who did the changing? Did anything really change? Did anything really change? 20 years. Taliban has seized a massive new war chest from the Afghan forces. Now, let me say this. I understand and I respect the fact that many Afghans lost their lives in the last 40 years. That, however, does not take away from the fact that the way that they held their ground, or lack thereof, which caused the Taliban to seize this massive war chest of U.S.-made Humvees, planes, helicopters, night vision goggles, drones, etc. Taliban takes over the U.S. war chest that was given to the Afghan military. We should be worried that the Taliban could use the equipment, including the firearms and drones, against civilians, against America. We don't know. So the notion of talking to so-called terrorists is really, that's a whole nother debate. That's a whole nother debate. But the previous administration, Trump administration, Mike Pompeo, and such. They sat down. They propped up the Taliban. You remember they wanted to bring them over to Camp David, 9/11, and have a meeting and kick back with them. But the pushback was so great, thankfully. The Taliban has a terrible human rights record. It does. It's a terrible, some people can say that America has a terrible human rights record, and they would be true to say that. So a lot of times when we're in other countries building up their infrastructure, or other countries telling them how to have fair elections, or in other countries telling them how to live their lives, they look back and well, what about in America? It ain't all that good over there. It's good here, but it ain't all that good to the point where we can just be preaching to other people and telling other people how to move. I mean, it ain't that good. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. Of course, I am here daily, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m., Diamond K in the morning. On weekends, 6 p.m., the All Mix Weekend. I go in the mix with a variety of music. DJDiamondK@gmail.com is how you get in touch with me. But we're not done. We're not done. A man yesterday surrendered after claiming to have a bomb near the U.S. Capitol, right near the Library of Congress. A North Carolina man claimed to have a bomb in a pickup truck and is surrendered to law enforcement after an hours-long standoff yesterday. Well, this whole debacle prompted a massive police response. Evacuations, of course, from area buildings. Whole debacle. Authorities searched the truck in an effort to understand what led the 49-year-old suspect, later identified as Floyd Ray Roseberry, to drive onto the sidewalk outside of the Library of Congress, make bomb threats to officers, and profess a litany of anti-government grievances as part of this bizarre episode that he live streamed on Facebook. You can't make this stuff up. Police said that they did not find a bomb in the vehicle. I repeat, police said that they did not find a bomb in the vehicle, but possible bomb-making materials were collected. Maybe the guy was so off that he thought he had a bomb when he didn't. So the standoff was resolved peacefully after, 5 hours. And it ended when the suspect crawled out of the truck and was taken into police custody. But even a city with a long history of dramatic law enforcement encounters outside federal landmarks, this episode was notable for at least the timing. DC remains on edge months after the insurrection that Republicans don't even want you to talk about. And for the way the suspect harnessed social media to draw attention in real time to his actions. I don't know. It's really crazy. The authorities spent hours negotiating with this guy. They first used a dry erase board and then brought him a telephone that he refused to use. Were digging into his background. And they didn't find any details about a motive, and charges were not immediately announced. So we're going to have to see what that was all about. He wanted attention. This is very bizarre. Yesterday's incident marked the third time in as many weeks that the federal and military law enforcement authorities had to respond to attacks or possible threats. Officials are also jittery over this planned rally in September in D.C. So we don't know what's going to happen with that. And it just has a lot of folks, on edge. A lot of folks on edge about that. So hopefully everything's going to go good, and it's just going to be a peaceful demonstration in September. But we still don't know. We don't know. But I do know this. Folks are going to be paying more attention. Folks are going to be paying more attention to a man surrendering after claiming to have a bomb near the Capitol. And then it turns out this guy doesn't even have a bomb. I don't know. What's it all about? In Baltimore, police released body camera footage from 2 shootings involving officers. Usually when they do this way, it's something that's not going to make them look bad. So Baltimore City Police have released the body camera footage of 2 separate police-involved shootings. One of the videos shows the shooting of Marcus Martin, 40 years old, who was shot by police, a sniper to be exact, on August the 8th. Martin was shot after he opened fire at a police SWAT robot as officers had surrounded his home. So there are 3 members of his family were earlier released. In the video, a SWAT officer relays a message that Martin would shoot any officer who approached him. The body camera video comes from an officer at the scene, not the sniper. Martin has since recovered from his injuries and has been formally charged. Police also in Baltimore City released a video from a shooting that happened on August the 12th in Baltimore, where police shot and wounded Terrence Tyrone Hillman, 32 years old. And Mr. Hillman opened fire on a crowd. Both incidents remain under investigation, and the officers involved are on administrative duty. So when they do it like that, see how quickly that came out? That's when it's not going to make them look bad. Yeah, that's when it's not going to make them look bad. So before we get out of here, also in Baltimore, the mayor discussions are still taking place on vaccine mandates for city workers. Baltimore reaches 65% vaccination rate. So in Baltimore, the COVID-19 response update. Yesterday, the mayor and the health commissioner continued their push for more city workers and residents to get vaccinated. And this is something that you're seeing all over the country. You're seeing this push. I like to know, are you taking the vaccine? Have you taken the vaccine? Will you take the vaccine? Question I have for you. Take a quick break and we'll be back. Close things out. And we are back. Your man Dominic A in here. Tomorrow, I will be in the mix on radioonfire.com, 6 p.m. The All Mix Weekend. You can check it out also on YouTube.com/DJ Dominic K, on Facebook, Radio on Fire. Anywhere that you get your broadcast, however you're hearing this now, or simply radioonfire.com. DJ Dominic K at gmail.com is where you go to catch up with me, to book me, etc., etc. And as I said, I will be back here tomorrow. All Mix Weekend. And on Monday, Diamond K in the morning. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys.